Hello friends, welcome to Ceylon Software. In this video, we will see one Infosys assignment, one Infosys interview question that we will discuss. So first of all, we will see what is the question or what is the problem statement. So this is the problem statement. So once I'm reading, infinite training wants to automate the process of desktop application for an exam. Also, they wish to decide the exam slot for the student based on his allocated desktop number. We have to create the application for the same using the concept of modularity. The application has the two modules like desktop allocation module and slot allocation module. Allocate desktop number and allocate time slot. For this, develop a Java program. So, guys, what we understood from this question. So, the question is overall based on an exam system, and this problem statement having two modules. One is desktop allocation module and one is slot allocation module. Okay, so we have to develop a Java application, and the application consisting two modules. One is desktop application allocation module. So desktop allocation we will do explicitly by representing a module. Similarly, slot allocation module we have to develop. Then for that we will write the business logic. So slot, suppose what will be the objective, what will be the purpose. Suppose I will enter the number of students, then student id, student name, then it will display this student desktop number is this, time slot is this. Suppose desktop number is 1, time slot is 9 to 11. So this is the overall objective of this problem statement. Okay, so definitely it is a modular programming approach. So what are the classes that we will use? So here I have mentioned student class, desktop allocator class, slot allocator class, and one main class, that is exam system class. Okay, so now let us see how I will develop this program. Okay, so let us go for development of the application. Now this is my Eclipse environment. So first of all, what I will do, so for this problem statement, definitely I will represent a student class. So now the student class I will represent as a Java bin. Okay, Java bin. So what is Java bin? Okay, first of all, right click on SRC, new class. Okay, so let my package name is com.ceylon.exam. Whatever the name you can give, there is no issue. And class name is student. Click on finish button. So what I told, so this student class I will represent as a Java bin. So what is Java bin? Java bin is a class containing private data members and containing getter and setter methods. Okay, so basically the class which is containing private data members and containing getter and setter methods. Getter means getting information, setter method means setting information. We will see. So first of all, what are the data members that I will take private? So int student ID. So student ID. Then I will take private string name. Then as per the problem statement, private int desktop number. Okay, private string time slot. So as per the problem statement, I analyzed so student ID, student name, desktop number, and time slots. These are the data members that we will require. Then containing getter and setter method. So you go to there is an option source. You click. You see generate getter and setters. You click select all and click on generate. So you see getter and setter methods we defined. Taking this data member, so we presented or we created getter and setter method. So get student ID, set student ID. Get name, set name. Get desktop number, set desktop number. Get time slot, set time slot. So getter means getting information. If I want access, if I want to get student ID value, so get student ID method I will invoke. Similarly, some value if I want to set for this setter method we have to invoke. Okay, so now I can say so it is a Java bin. So Java bin is a component or it is a class containing private data members and containing getter and setter methods. Then another point I am adding here. So to represent or to define student class fully, so it will be better one parameterized constructor we will define because in other class when I will declare a student object, we know that at the time of declaration of an object constructor if we have, so constructor will execute automatically. For which purpose? For initializing the data members. So it will be better practice when Java bin you are presenting. So you are taking private data members, getter and setter methods. So as well as you are consider or you take parameterized constructor. You go to source option and you see so generate constructor using fields. So click on generate. So you see one parameterized constructor in this way we defined. Okay, so now control S. Now I saved. So this is my step number 1. So my step number 1, I developed student.java file. So this student.java file is representing what? Student is a class containing 4 data members For private data members, that is student ID, name, desktop number, and time slot, containing a parameterized constructor and containing getter and setter method. So, guys, this is step number one. Then I will go to desktop allocation module that we have to design or we have to develop, because problem statement is saying we have to develop two modules. One is desktop allocation module, one is slot allocation module. Desktop allocation module representing what? Desktop number. We will allocate this desktop computer system. This is suppose one. Then next desktop I will allocate as two. So explicitly we will allocate desktop. So for this, so another class I will define new class. Let my class name is desktop allocator. Let my class name is desktop allocator. Click on finish button. So what I will do? So definitely I will allocate. So I will allocate suppose sequentially. First desktop number one, then next desktop suppose I will allocate as two, then next desktop I will allocate as three. So in this way. So if I will write private int, so one counter variable I will take suppose desktop. If I will take desktop counter equals to 1. Sequentially, desktop allocation that we will do and how it will increment, and for this I have to write a business logic that is nothing but a method definition for this. So one method I am defining, let public return type is int I will take. So allocate desktop. Allocate desktop, suppose it is my method name, this is my business logic, and return type int I have taken. So I will write return desktop counter. My variable name is desktop counter plus plus. Okay, so this is my logic. Control S. Okay guys, so this is my step number two, and in step number two what I did, simply one class I defined, that class name is desktop allocator. One counter variable I took, let the counter variable is one, and one method I defined, that is my business logic. So only simply just counter variable plus plus I have mentioned that. So what the meaning? Meaning is it is representing desktop allocation that I have done sequentially. First desktop 1, then 2, then 3, then 4 in this way. Okay, so this method I define. So how it will execute? We have to call this method, but when I am calling or in which place I am calling, you see. Then after a desktop allocation module representation, then we will go to slot allocation module. Okay, so explicitly for that we have to write the logic, and so that logic will represent slot 9 to 11 time slot or 11 to 1. So how? Just to see. So I will go to my package, right click, new class. For this I am defining another class. So let my class name is slot allocator. Slot allocator. Click on finish button. Okay. Similarly, slot allocation module it will represent, and this module if I will define, so for this definitely I will write the logic. So logic is nothing but a method definition. So public let return type, suppose I am taking string, and one method I will define, let allocate slot, this method, and by taking the number sorry, by taking the value of int desktop number. Okay, so in this way, so I will define a method. A very simple logic. If so, desktop number is greater than equals to 1 and logical and desktop number is less than equals to 10. If condition is true, if condition is true, okay, so let return, so let's return statement, the output statement. So return type is string. So definitely I will return a string value. So here I can write or I can represent, let it 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. So if condition is true, then if body will execute. If the value of desktop number is greater than equals to 1 and logical and both expression will be true, then whole expression will be true. So if the value of desktop number is greater than equals to 1 and the value of desktop number is less than equals to 10, then time slot is 9 to 10 a.m. Else again if, okay, similarly I can write desktop number is greater than equals to 11 and desktop number is less than equals to 20. Okay, so return let 10:30 a.m. 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Okay, then else again else if, so directly I can copy and here I will paste. So if desktop number is greater than equals to 21 and desktop number is less than equals to 30, so time slot is return, okay, return 12 to 1 p.m. 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Else return, so 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Okay, so this is my slot allocator.java. So in this way I wrote the logic. So logic is nothing but a method definition. One method, allocate slot method I defined, and the method body is nothing but a nested if. So very simple logic. If the value of desktop number is greater than equals to 1 and desktop number value less than equals to 10, then time slot is 9 to 10. Then if condition is false, then control will come to this. If condition is true, then return 10:30 to 11:30. That means time slot is 10:30 to 11:30. So in this way, so time another time slot I have set 12 to 1. Otherwise, time slot is 2 to 3 p.m. So this is my slot allocation module, and for this one class slot allocator I define. So this slot allocator.java is representing slot allocation module. Then we will go to main method. So in this way, three .java files we developed. One is student.java, then desktop allocator.java, then slot allocator.java. Then I will go to main method. For that, again another class I have to develop. I will go to package new class. So this is my main class, and let my class name is exam system. Select public static void main, click on finish. Okay, so now, so this is my main method. Okay, so my objective is at the runtime. At the runtime through the keyboard, I will give the number of students. At the runtime through the keyboard, I will give the student ID. At the runtime through the keyboard, I will give the student name. So then it will visualize student ID is this, student name is this. So desktop allocation number is this, time slot is this for that student. So if my intention is what to take the input value at the runtime. So first of all, I will import a package, import java.utility.star package, because we have to create a scanner class object. So then I will create a scanner class object, scanner s equals to new scanner system.in. Okay, then what I will do, so we have to classes like desktop allocator and slot allocator, because desktop allocator disclose some business logic we have written. Similarly, in slot allocator class we have written some business logic and one method that we have defined. So that method we have to call here. So how to call? So slot allocator method. So this method I will call by the slot allocator object. Similarly, this method, allocate desktop method. So where I will call, so I will call in exam system.java, but I will call by desktop allocator objects. So here, so for this, I will take two objects. One is desktop allocator object, desktop allocator object, desktop allocator object. Let object name desktop allocator equals to new desktop allocator. So I declared desktop allocator object. Similarly, I will declare slot allocator object. Slot allocator object equals to new slot allocator. Class name object name equals to new class name. So in this way, a scanner. So in this way, two object I created. One is desktop allocator object and one is slot allocator objects. Then one list I am taking. So which type of data that I will give student type of data, because our Java bin basically in Spring framework we can say it is a model component student.java. So student type of data, because student class containing four data members, student ID name, desktop number, time slot. So this type of data, so I will take, so I am creating a list. Let my list name is students equals to new array list. Okay, new array list. Okay, so new array list. Array list is an implementation class of list interface. So new array list, it is returning a list type of object, that is students, or students is representing a list. Then so I will write system dot out dot println. So I can write enter number of students. Okay. So now one variable I am taking int n equals to s dot next int. So what is meaning? Next int method returning an integer value to n. Okay. Next int method returning integer value to n. That means the value of n must be an integer value. Then for clearing the buffer, I can write sc dot next line method. Okay. So why I wrote sorry s dot scanner object is s dot next line method. So for clearing the buffer, actually I wrote this line. Next line method actually returning a string value to a variable, but here in left hand side I have not taken any variable, so it is representing without assigning it to a variable, because here we do not need the value, we only want to clear the input buffer. So after this line, actually that means to remove the leftover new line, we have called s dot next line method actually. Okay, so basically this reads the leftover slash n and discards. So for clearing the input buffer, so I wrote this line s dot next line method. Okay, so I hope everybody is understanding. So now I will create a student object. Okay, I will create a student object. So already in students.java, we have a parameterized constructor. So if you are defining a parameterized constructor, so at the time of declaration of an object, we have to pass the value. So you see, I am taking an object of student class, student, object name is student equals to new class name. And we know that when an object is declaring, constructor executing automatically. So, okay, so here enter the number of students. Oh, okay, okay. So, okay. So, and enter the number of students. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, suppose after entering the number of students, now here I will not declare the object. After entering the number of students, what I will enter? The student ID and student name. So if what 10 number of students, 5 or whatever the number of students you will enter at the runtime through the keyboard. So that numbers of student ID you have to enter, that numbers of student name that you have to enter. So for this, so I will use a for loop. Okay. So in for loop, in the middle, I will declare student object. First you see. So int I equals to 0. Okay, I is less than n I plus plus. Okay. So now system.out.println enter student ID, enter student ID. Okay. Then int ID equals to s dot next int. Then for clearing the buffer s dot next line. This is one point. Then another thing is I will, after entering the student ID, I will enter student name. system.out.println enters the student name, enter the student name, okay, then string name equals to s dot next line method. So here next line method returning a string value to name. So now id value, so id variable and name variable. id variable containing student id value and name variable containing student name value. Now we will declare the object student equals to new class name, new student. Now already in student.java we have defined parameterized constructor. So at the time of declaration of an object, constructor will execute automatically. So four parameters I have to specify because it should match. So 1, 2, 3, 4 parameter for student ID. For student ID, currently here I have taken ID variable and name. Okay, so this parameter, but remaining two. So for int desktop number and string time slot. So here there is no variable for int desktop number and string time slot. So uh, desktop for the desktop number value, so I will take 0 because desktop number is int type of variable. The default value of int is 0. The default value string is null because constructor parameterized constructor already we have defined taking four parameters. So when you will declare the object for variables or for values that you have to pass, so otherwise mismatch will arise. So that's why here another two parameters, one is 0 I will take and one is null I will take. Okay, so for int desktop number I took 0 and for time slot I took null. Okay, so now that loop is going on. So first we have two module, one is desktop allocation module and one is slot allocation module. So now the time came, oh, explicitly we have to allocate. That means we have to set the value. So I can write module 1, so allocate desktop. How? Because so already we have desktop allocator object, so I can write object name desktop allocator, object name dot method name is allocate desktop. So you see, so in the main class the desktop allocator object we are creating and the method allocate desktop method we are invoking by desktop allocator object. And so you see, when allocate desktop method you have defined return type is int. So here definitely I will take a return what int output variable, let int desktop. So this is my output variable and the value of this variable we will set. So how I will set, already in student class there is a setter method and for desktop number, so there is a set desktop number, you see set desktop number. So it is a setter method in which class we have defined, in student class we have defined. So this setter method I will call by the student object. So here I will write student dot setter method set desktop number, set desktop number, and within bracket you see automatically this desktop is it is specifying the value of a desktop. So in this way, the desktop number explicitly we set. Similarly, same way for module 2. So module 2 is what? Allocate time slots. Same way, so in slot allocator.java, one method we have defined, so that is representing business logic for time slot. So that method name is allocate slot. So allocate slot method I have defined in slot allocator class. So this method I will call by slot allocator object. So already from the beginning we have taken slot allocator object. So I can write object name slot allocator dot method name. So slot allocator dot method name. That method name is allocate slots. Allocate slots. This method name. Okay. And you see the method return type is string. So definitely. So I will take one output variable. So string type of variable, output variable I have to take. Okay, so taking the value of a desktop we have written, because you see, so at the time of definition I have taken int desktop number. So method definition and method call. So guys, you remember signature must be same. So otherwise error will arise. So here desktop value I first, so now, so I will set student dot. Similarly, in student.java, there is a method, setter method, that is set time slot. So this method I will call set time slot. Set time slot. So for setting the value of a slot. Okay. So in this way, so I invoked allocate desktop method and I invoked allocate slot method by the slot allocator objects. Okay. So now after this, so I will add. So in this line, why it is error is coming? Set time student is the object name. Yes. Dot set time slot. Control S. The method set time slot is undefined for the type student. Okay, so you suppose I will import Java dot. No, this the inside the one package we are doing. com.ceylon.exam.student. Student is my object dot. So in this line, why error is coming? Set time slot. Yes. Okay. So this package no need to import, because under a single package I have kept all the classes. So I think this setter method properly it has not written. Okay. So after that, so what I will do? So already one list I have taken, that list name is students. I will add what? You see automatically student is coming. because the student object is representing everything, because after setting desktop number value and after taking set time slot value, because what student object is representing student class property. So student class property is student id, student name, then desktop allocation number and slot. You see, student object is representing student class property, student id, name, desktop number, time slot. So already id name we had, and desktop number and time slot in this way that we found. So overall, since the student object representing student class properties, so I added into students list. So now I will write the output statement. So I think here I will end for loop. Okay. So now I will write one output statement, system.out.println. Okay. Suppose I will write exam allocation details. In this way, suppose I will write within double quote, whatever we will write that will display. Okay. So one for each loop, just I am continuing. Student S colon students. Okay, so this is one for each loop or enhanced for loop. Just I am presenting. So for each value, because students is a list. So in student list containing what students? Student object is representing student class property. So that means student list contain student class properties. Student ID value, name value, desktop allocation number, time slot value. So for each value of students in S, then body will execute. So body is what? So system.out.println. Okay. So student ID, student ID. So the ID value, so I can get by S dot getter method, because in student.java there is a getter method, get student ID. So I can call, so get student ID, get student ID method. So for getting student ID value. Similarly, I can get name value, desktop number and exam slot. So in this way, so four statements I will write, four output statements, four output statements. Then student name. So as a dot, what is the getter method in student class? Get name. Similarly, desktop number, desktop number. So for that there is a getter method. So that getter method is get desktop number method. Similarly, time slot or exam slot is, so there is a getter method get time slot. Okay, so in this way, so get s dot, you see there is a method get or get time slot. So get time slot. Okay, so here, oh, already scanner class objects as I have taken. Okay, so you can write st. So here st, 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 st. Okay. So in this way, so we get the student ID value, name value, number value, and slot value by invoking or by calling getter method, that is get student ID, get name, get desktop number, and get time slot. Okay, so this is my whole solution. This is my main class. The program name is exam system.java. Okay, control is. So guys, overall, I am again repeating, the overall solution is complete. So first, we developed a Java Bean component, that is student.java. One student class we took, containing four data members, containing a parameterized constructor and containing getter and setter methods. Then two module we developed. One is desktop allocation module and slot allocation module. Desktop allocation module representing what, the desktop number, that is sequentially I have presented desktop number 1, 2, 3 in this way. Similarly, slot allocation module I presented, and for that I wrote a logic. So for this one method I defined, so if condition is true, so time slot is 9 to 10, or time slot is 10 to 30 to 11:30, another time slot 12 to 1, and another time slot is 2 to 3. Then in main class, so I called that method by invoking what, desktop allocator object and slot allocator object, and one student's list I took. So one inside the for loop, student id value, student name value, everything I have taken at the runtime through the keyword. For that I have written the Java source code, and by invoking getter method, so we have got, or I got, the student id value, name value, desktop number value, and get time slot value. Okay, so this is student.java, control S I saved. This is desktop allocator.java. This is slot allocator.java, and my main class file is exam system.java. Now I will hit run. So you see, so enter the number of students. Suppose I will, so I will enter true. Okay, enter the student ID. Suppose I will enter 101, enter the student name. Suppose Rakesh. You see, enter student ID 102. Suppose enter again, automatically it is coming. Enter the student name. So, as per in which way the statement you have written, accordingly output message will come to the picture. Enter the student name. Suppose I will enter Amit. You see, so output came of, because I have entered two students. So after giving two student details, means student ID and student name, so output came exam allocation details, student ID 101, student name Rakesh, desktop number 1, exam slot 9 to 10 am. Similarly, student ID 102, student name Amit, desktop number 2, exam slot 9 to 10 am. Okay, so this is my final output. So I hope everybody got clarity. Thank you.